NCAA Crusaders. 2.
Hello and welcome to Wayne Sports Network. I'm Troy Demikoff alongside Illian Nunez. It is now the end of the season in North Jersey, and it's time for now our 5th show. So, it's been a while, and let's start with reflecting on how teams finished the season, starting with, Wayne Hills.
So Wayne Hills, we lost in the first round of the playoffs against West Morris. We had a 5-5 record going into the playoffs, and we
finished with a 5-5.
We finished with a 5-5 record. And I feel like we could have done better. We had those games. It was an up and down season, win loss.
Yeah.
But I feel we could have done better. I feel we could have ended with at least 7 games won. And
Yeah.
I think we could have won a bunch of the games that we had in our season.
Yeah, I think there were 2 games specifically I think should have went differently for us, which were Passaic Valley and Caldwell. And if we got those in the first round, we probably would have played here. We wouldn't have been in the position to play at West Morris in the first place. So, definitely not a season. It was an upgrade from last year, but definitely not how you want it to end or how you want it to go.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about, the end of the year stats. Let's start with first quarterback Mikey Fitzsimmons throwing for 1,566 yards and 13 touchdowns. What kind of year do you think he had?
I think he had an impressive year. I was like, he had those weapons too. He had Max Delegard, 432 yards and 4 touchdowns. Aaron Vore, 478 yards, 5 touchdowns. And he also had Mongeli, 645 yards with 6 touchdowns. I think that he had a really good year as a junior. So I think next season we're going to see a very good improvement by him.
Yeah, I think the end of the year note for this year is kind of like, it was definitely this year, still not how we wanted it to end, but it was an upgrade from last year. And now next year we build off this year and do even better next year, I think.
Yeah.
But let's talk about also what happened in our group, which was Ultapan won the Group 3 championship against Mainland by a score of 20-16 3 days ago at Rutgers. And now let's move on to Wayne Valley. What do you think about their stats?
So I think you have Ferrulo with 2,229 yards and 14 touchdowns. But I feel like that's very impressive. It's more impressive than Mikey's, but it's a very impressive year for also a junior too. What are your thoughts on also the receivers and the running backs for Wayne Valley?
I definitely think, they had a big year receiving. Definitely got their weapons going, like Darius Rivers, 506 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Luke Rubino having 490 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I think, they got their weapons going this year, and even though they finished very similar to us, first round of the playoffs, taking an L, but theirs was at home, which was even more surprising to see how they lost it. And then Eli Estevez finished the year out with 748 yards and 9 touchdowns. And let's talk about how their group finished. It comes down to Phillipsburg versus Winslow, which is tonight at Rutgers. My personal prediction is I think Winslow is going to win by a lot, definitely. But Phillipsburg could always make it interesting. You never know. How do you think the game's going to go?
I think Phillipsburg's going to lose. I just don't think they're going to be as good against Winslow. I think Winslow's a really good team. So I just think Winslow's going to come out with the victory.
All right, so now that we've talked about the 2 rivals in Wayne, we will now discuss DePaul and PCTI.
Ready?
You started, yeah.
Mr. Oster, can you give us a countdown?
Did he hear you?
Can you give us a countdown?
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Wayne Sports Network. Now that we talked about the Patriots and the Indians, we're moving to focus on the Spartans and the Bulldogs. So, Troy, since it's the end of the season for also DePaul ended up going all the way to MetLife Stadium and won the state championship for them. What are your thoughts about how they did?
I definitely think they had a great season and they capped it off exactly how they wanted it to, how it should have been. Group B, obviously it's not as strong as Group A, but when you look at that bracket, you look at DePaul, you just looked at it and you were like, DePaul can't mess this up, man. This is DePaul's year for sure, and they went out in the field and showed it.
Yeah, because they definitely had the players to show it. So for the stats for the game, Derek Zammit, their quarterback, junior, passing for 115 yards and 1 touchdown. They had Des Jones, 84 yards, and Elijah Burrs, 15 yards and 1 touchdown. And they had their running back, Nolan James, 244 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
they had the whole season with those top players, those D1 players that are going up to the D1 level next year. And I feel like just having those players, we all expected that they should be going all the way through a state championship.
Yeah, when you look at those stats, you look at this game, this was like a Nolan James legacy game. Running for almost 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's how they ran the ball effectively and really well against Pope John as they put up 33 points.
Yeah, so now I want to talk about PCTI. losing in the first round against Union City. What are your thoughts about that game?
It was the second round, actually.
Oh, my bad. The second round.
No, that's good. I watched the end of it. It was a really good game. I mean, Union City is usually a run-heavy team, and that the fact that they were able to throw a pass to win this game definitely showed that what kind of team Union City is. And Union City, actually, now that the season's over, we can say Union City, they lost the state championship game, the Group 5 championship, in a blowout to Toms River North. But still, Union City showed that they're the best Group 5 team here. And PCTI was up there, too. It's just they couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I don't know. We played them in a scrimmage, and we both know how that went. And also, against, what do you want to mention about Toms River North? Toms River North has always been a very powerhouse school.
Yeah, this is a 3-peat or 4-peat for them now,
they're a really good team, and I would have had Toms River North against Union City any day. So then about the game, for the whole entire season, Gabe Miles, their quarterback, 1,766 yards with 17 touchdowns. Joel Perez and Ian McDuffie, 625 yards and 5 touchdowns. Ian McDuffie with 444 yards and 6 touchdowns, and Gabe Miles for 643 yards and 10 touchdowns. I think they overall had a really good season.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it just came out to the end. It was just they versus a really good team. So
yeah, I mean, I think like if you see those stats, I mean, they had some really good guys. Some guys I think that can even play at the college level. And definitely a good season. It's just they ran into the team who won the whole thing. I mean, maybe if they were in a separate bracket, they make it to the regional final, win a sectional final. You never know, but just. It's just the luck of the draw, and it didn't work out in their favor.
So this is it for today. Thanks for tuning in another week of Wayne Sports Network. As we head to give you another show in a next week. As always, I'm Illian Nunez, accompanied by Troy Demikoff. Have a good one. Cal. Christian Alexander. The Calixter. McAllister.